Embrace and face the fact the community is growing. We've come together as one entity to set up your abode. The zombies have returned with open arms, we welcome home.
What's going on, guys? This is VegasPlays, and you're listening to episode 13 of Would You Rather. So let's get straight to the first question. The first question is, would you rather be resistant to cold and impossible to freeze to death, or be resistant to heat and impossible to burn to death? Now, that might have sounded grammatically incorrect, but that's the way the question was worded, so I read it from there. So which one would I choose? Now, I always do this thing in which I analyze both of them before making my decision, so let's start with being resistant to cold and impossible to freeze to death. Okay, so being resistant to cold, it's useful. I mean, it is useful. For example, if you had to sleep outside, and it was very cold that night, and you didn't have any blankets or whatever, and you were just in a coat, a t-shirt, trousers, and you were homeless. Having the ability to resist cold and being impossible to freeze to death would help you a awful fucking lot. And that's a good point towards that. I mean, I'd love to be able to resist cold, because cold is a real pain in the arse sometimes. I mean, I opened the window a couple of days ago, and it was really cold, having to get like a jumper on, a hoodie on, and put a quilt over me, a duvet, for whoever doesn't know what quilt means, which I'm sure most people do, or blanket, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I had to do that, and it worked, it wasn't too cold anymore. But then it got a little too hot, and that gets on to my next, at that point, I'll say next point. So be resistant to heat and impossible to burn to death. Now, when it's hot outside, it doesn't really affect me too much. It makes me sweat a bit, and you know, it's just an inconvenience. It isn't anything that's a real problem. It's just a moderate inconvenience, which you're like, alright, I'm just gonna have to keep the window open, maybe have a fan next to me, and it's all good. But with cold, you have to switch on the heating, which costs money, and sometimes that doesn't work, and it's still cold. So, which one would I rather pick? And analysing from the freeze to death or burn to death, I think freezing to death would be more likely than actually burning to death, but burning to death would be much cooler to actually have as a kind of power, not being able to burn to death. Which, if you come to think of it, that might be useful in some situations. For example, if you wanted to save people out of a burning building. Sounds a little Spider-Man-esque, but I mean, if you were to see a house burning down or something burning down, and you wanted to save like a cat, a family, whatever, and that would really help you, you'd be able to be a very good member of a fire team, so that would get you that job. But being resistant to cold and impossible to freeze to death, you wouldn't have to wear much clothing, would you? And you wouldn't have to buy as much clothing, so that would also save you money. And especially in the cold winter, if you want to pop down to the shops, it doesn't affect you at all. You can just pop your shoes on and walk out in your pajamas. Just pop to the shop. Everyone's wondering how the fuck you can withstand the cold. And yeah. So which one would I rather pick? I think that I'd pick it to be impossible to freeze to death, because in my life, personally, it would be more convenient for me. So that's going to be my pick. I want to hear your picks below for each of these, okay? So, next question. Would you rather be on the front page of Reddit whenever you want, or be on the front page of the New York Times once? Now, this is a relatively easy question, which I can probably answer with a relatively quick answer. Now, Reddit. If you were on the front page whenever you want on Reddit, then publicity is gonna be high for you, because Reddit does have a lot of users. Depends what subreddit you manage to get to the front page on, but I'm assuming that it means all subreddits, because it says be on the front page whenever you want. So that's unlimited publicity. being the front page of the New York Times once. Does the New York Times even get as much viewers as Reddit though? Because Reddit is a huge website, and a lot of people look at it. There's tons of subreddits, millions of users. Is being on the front page of New York Times, is that better than being on the front page of Reddit? I mean, the publicity from casual people and maybe businessmen will probably be higher. You'll probably have a few people who are kind of famous maybe looking at you on the front page of the New York Times, but that's only once. One-time opportunity. But being on the front page of Reddit whenever you want, unlimited publicity. So especially for me as a YouTuber, I could advertise my videos on there. I mean, one big advertisement on the New York Times would get me a lot of subscribers, but a lot of advertisements on Reddit would grow my subscribers over time, because I imagine they do have more users and more viewers than the New York Times. So for this question, seeing Reddit is a favourite site of mine as well, which might be a bit biased on my side. But anyway, this video is based off of my opinions, and if I'm biased or not, that does not matter, which I am going to say that I'm not biased. So, my answer to that is being the front page of Reddit whenever I like. Next question, and final question. So, this last question is a bit of a controversial question, and I need to answer it, apparently. So here we go. This would you rather is, would you rather eat only human remains for the rest of your life? Yeah, or starve to death? So, as weird as it sounds to some of you guys out there, it really depends where the human body or the human remains came from. For example, I don't want to be going out there and murdering people and eating their dead bodies. That sounds, as ironic as it is, kind of sick. But if it was of dead bodies of people who have died of natural causes such as old age or cancer or other stuff like that, and the only way to get out of this is to starve, well, then I think I'd eat only human remains for the rest of my life, as long as I'm not hunting and killing people for them. Which sounds strange, because, I mean, if it's not hurting anyone, and it's only destroying my dignity, then, I mean, I think that I would rather live than die. As long as nobody other than me finds out about this, then, yeah, I think that's how it would go down with me. So my answer to this is eat only human remains for the rest of my life. And I just read one of the comments below, saying anything is good with Frank's Red Hot Sauce. Okay. So, yeah, actually that is a good point. If I could have ketchup and other stuff with the human remains, and, you know, have some salt and pepper and stuff over it, you know, and add some spices and be able to mix it up a little bit, then that would definitely be more appetizing. So, yeah, I just sounded incredibly creepy. But anyway, my answer is to only eat human remains for the rest of my life rather than starving to death. Oh shit, more people pick starving to death on this answer. But only by 23,000 apparently. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Vegas, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, if you liked this video, hit the like button. If you want to leave your own answers to the questions that I answered, then comment below. You have an unlimited amount of commenting space. So yeah, this is Vegas, checking out, and subscribe to me, motherfuckers. Do it, faggot. Do it, hit the button. See you later. This is Vegas, checking out.